So dudes, these are the designer's notes for Operation Deadly Omen. This is the next season that's going to kick off year 9. This is not the year 9 roadmap. This is me going through the actual bullet points of the balance changes like we usually do. My face cam is not working right now because there's like a hardware problem, but I'm going to make the video anyway, and I hope that doesn't detract from the quality too much. You guys have seen these videos a million times. You get the idea. Let's just get right into it. It's tough to keep nerfing characters, so I want to make the attack more powerful. That's more fun for everybody. One way we could counter Solus is with a Bradley IFV. A Bradley IFV won't be added to Rainbow Six Siege for some time, but it's fully playable in War Thunder, the sponsor of this video and the most comprehensive vehicular combat game ever made. The game offers a wide variety of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and warships, spanning 10 major nations worth of tech, including the robust Vilkas IFV from Lithuania and the historical armaments of Hungary. You can work your way from elegant World War II propeller planes to state-of-the-art cutting-edge jets. Combat is intense, detailed, and realistic, down to the graphics, sound effects, and the destructive models. The game's distinct damage modeling system is one of its key traits, with the ability to blow apart individual components of vehicles. I personally like that the game is very well optimized and can run on even my dated hardware. Join over 70 million people for free on PC and Xbox and PlayStation. Sign up using my link in the pinned comment or video description for a massive bonus pack for new and returning players that haven't played for at least 6 months. It includes multiple premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator, as well as 100,000 Silver Lions and 7 days of premium account. This is available for a limited time only, so get it now. Thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring. Okay. So the big thing with attackers is that the general consensus is that attacking just kind of stinks. And the reason that attacking stinks recently is because Fenrir, Solus, Azami, Valkyrie, and Fenrir have a very, very strong impact on the meta right now. In fact, I'm pretty sure, color me wrong. All right, let's go down here to Defender PC. Yep, here we are. Fenrir, Solus, Azami, Valk. So what we're looking at is basically a meta. Now, obviously, I'm talking about PC. Console pick rates are a little bit different for different reasons. But when we're talking about typical high elo gameplay with the attack, you don't really have as many options to gather intel. So you want to play aggressively and quickly off of the intel that you can have. So if Solus is going to run around and get rid of all your drones, you might as well just entry into the building as fast as possible to get the leverage going. And that's why if we look over here on attack, we see that Ashe has taken over the role ever since Yana lost her frag grenades. We see it again there. Yeah, Ashe, Buck, Ace. Not surprising to me at all. In fact, Ashe and Buck have been two of my most played characters in this particular season just because they have so much versatility in terms of entry fraggers. If I run into a shield, if I run into a bulletproof camera, I'm not completely useless, and my gun is still really good. Ashe has, kind of come back into the fold as the premier entry fragger because the R4C is just so freaking good now ever since it got that recoil change not too long ago. But as you can see with the actual attacker blob, there's a lot of variety, right? There's a lot of variety towards the center, but as we can see with the defense, it's not quite as consolidated, right? It's a little bit more spread out, which is usually in a competitive environment, it's the other way around. It's usually like towards the end of the chart, you just kind of see a lot of Fenrir, Solus, Azami, Fenrir, Solus, Azami, Fenrir, Solus, Azami, Valk, usually Valk's band. So it's interesting, right? You would think that because defense is so powerful that you only have a couple of operators picked in ranked, but from what I can tell here for the ranked meta, people are just defaulting to picking their gun and fighting up close and personal because it's the path of least resistance. So this patch, among other things, is aimed somewhat at addressing this. In general, Year 9 Season 1 is going to be tackling the TDM meta. That is the calling card of this particular patch. So if we go down here to operator ban rate, yeah, you can see here, Takebi. I made a call on Takebi not too long ago, towards the beginning of Year 8, where I said that Takebi is essentially going to be the best attacker. Now, I clickbaited it a little bit, and I'm not sorry. But yeah, Takebi basically had everything going for her. Really good gun, some utility destruction, and she helps with the roam clear, which, again, aggressive intel, fast intel that you can use to capitalize on roamer positions and kill them as fast as possible. not particularly shocked by this. So everyone's kind of figuring out that Takebi is really, really good. And I think I hope that she doesn't get like nerfed too hard pretty soon here. I would expect something like that coming down the pipeline. Hopefully the other changes that they're doing here are contextualizing this a little bit instead of just hitting, fun characters over the nerf pad again and again and again. Back here to defense. So this is not surprising. Fenrir has so much versatility. He can fit into a million different, he's a very drag and drop kind of character in the same vein that Solus is, Azami is, depending on the map, especially Clubhouse, especially Bank. But Fenrir kind of ended up replacing Malusi's job not too long ago when he got added. You can see here Tubarão was pretty up there. I think most of this has to do with the fact that when Tubarão, first got added, he was pretty freaking strong, but then he got adjusted, and now we kind of defaulted back to Tubarão. Capkin actually kind of ends up, countering the TDM meta, which is really funny, right? So if people are going to play Ashe all the time, what's the best counter to Ashe? Obviously, a Capkin. All right, so let's go through the actual changes themselves. So a big one here is Azami. So Azami is finally getting a solid nerf. Azami is finally getting a solid amount of counterplay to the way the Kiba barrier works. So the barriers have 999 HP. What that basically translates to is a full mag from an assault rifle. So 30 rounds from an assault rifle, and then DMRs can take them down in about 11 shots, which is fine because the DMR usually has 20 shots, some of them about 11. So basically, you can shoot through a whole mag and get rid of a Kiba barrier now. And this is exactly what I thought they were going to do. This is exactly something that I proposed a couple of times in my videos. I was kind of confused that this mechanic never really got added to the game yet. I remember when they added that one character from Valorant with the weird Spider-Man ability where she like traps people in a spider web and then sucks them in to like at Madam Web. I know people are gonna make that joke. I forget her name. She had like Deadlock. She had that ability with the barriers, and you could shoot the barrier projector. It had a certain HP cap, and it was not an insignificant amount of shots, right? You could deal with it, and it wasn't the end of the world in most situations. But a lot of the time, if you had the choice between taking a gunfight and shooting out the barrier generator, then it became a massive pain in the butt. And so this is going to be a similar kind of situation with the Azami's Kibas, is that they're not going to be they're not going to have as much long-term influence as they used to. So, for instance, that chandelier spot that I like to use on Azami a lot on Bank, that's probably not really going to be a thing anymore. You're not really going to allocate resources towards that because you can just shoot it, right? You don't need a Kali Lance, you don't need an Ashe charge, you don't need a Zoph charge. And so that's going to basically remove her ability to kind of like construct the map like a building, right? To kind of just construct like free map terrain. But in situations where, let's say like Clubhouse Rafters, I think she's still going to be good for that, because that position, when you have to take that engagement to shoot the Kibas, is a lot more exposed. So if you're in a position where the attackers actually have to take a gunfight and they're threatening themselves with counterfire, then it's, not really going to be as big of a deal for Azami. I think she's still going to be a powerful operator, but this actually just, provides some kind of counterplay. Yeah, and I literally say her ability to reshape the map. That's the terminology that I've used pretty often. So basically, Kiba barriers, you can shoot them, and you can still blow them up, but they're very vulnerable to DMRs and LMGs. All right, Finka getting a little bit of adjustment. I didn't even notice this one on the capture build, I'm gonna be honest. Weapon reload speed increase bonus removed. Okay, that's interesting. I'm learning about this for the first time. Clears the shield suppressive fire debuff. Reduces its effect by 50% if applied while affected. Okay, so I'm an idiot. So I had to go back and look this up. So this suppressive fire debuff for shields is basically a movement penalty that's applied to shields. This effect is nullified by the Finka Surge, which is kind of cool. So that's going to be really interesting to combo up with Blitz. But yeah, as you can see, weapon reload speed, increased bonus removed. They want to actually incentivize people to use the angle grip, so they're getting rid of the sleight of hand for Adrenal Surge. All right, so let's get into it. We're finally looking at the ADS speed, and we're probably going to get a list of ACOGs, I think. I hope so. So what's going on? All right. So we have new weapon classes. That's interesting. The revolvers, which I'm assuming includes stuff like Wamai's revolver, stuff like Deimos's revolver, Kali's sniper, slug shotguns like Cade's shotgun. Light machine guns, movement speed has been reduced by 10%. I'm editing this video in, so what I neglected to notice here was that LMG recoil has been reduced across the board. And you'll see the actual patch notes amending this change in writing towards the end of the video, not at this particular section. So the movement speed change does not act as an overall nerf. I think the LMGs are kind of in their own separate category as support weapons. Normalized and simplified ADS curve transitions. So, okay, I'm starting to see what they're doing here. This is very interesting. So we have 3 categories of ADS speeds. What they're doing here, handguns, revolvers, and shotguns, these have a fast ADS time. So if I'm reading this correctly, that means that the M590 has an ADS time that's just as fast as a handgun. Smoke mains are going to have a lot of fun with that. You can get really aggressive around corners with the shotgun now. This is going to be really dangerous, I think. Medium, which includes marksman rifles and sniper rifles. So this means that marksman rifles actually have a faster ADS time than a submachine gun, which is really interesting. And then, of course, for slow, these are all of your main hard hitters. These are your primary weapons. These are the weapons in Rainbow Six Siege that people get the most amount of kills with. These are your R4Cs. These are your SMG-11s. Regardless of whether or not they're in a particular category, this differentiation has basically been made as a balancing metric. So that includes all of your main guns, right? Your pretty much anything you're going to be doing the most amount of damage with. You can see the actual values here if you're a nerd and you want to compare them. You know, it's a lot of numbers. I think most people kind of get the idea. But yeah, so. Oh yeah, and reduced ADS speed from sprint, which is another thing, right? Less TDM meta. With the goal of increasing player options, weapon customization, and accessibility, we've taken a look at all the weapons in the game, normalized their configuration according to their class. We have cleared all the exceptions and strange mixes, such as the Commando 9 that was a mix of AR SMG and is now 100% an AR. That's an interesting differentiation. So everyone will know what to expect from a weapon by just checking its class, but while the classes are new, the gameplay hasn't changed. We've also taken a deeper look at the LMG class. We nerfed them significantly last year to address the LMG meta, but now we can bring them back, like I said. Clearing on the fundamentals has allowed us to expand on the weapon attachment system by adding new attachments and new types of bonuses. The current speed makes peeking a corner too advantageous. Entering danger should be properly judged and have risks. Therefore, we have reduced the ADS speed across all weapons. The new timings aim to reduce the strength of fast peeking and return some advantage to holding an angle or repositioning. Big. So now we're not just going to get like swung in a million miles an hour around a corner as much as we used to. Additionally, we have simplified what determines the precision from hipfire to aiming down sights. This is all math stuff. You can read it if you want. It's basically just kind of breaking down the mathematics as to why the ADS is the way it is. But the long and short of it is the ADS time is significantly slower. Now, that being said, let's get down into the sights. So in the video that I did covering the changes, you'll notice that on a couple of occasions I was using iron sights. And the reason for that was because I wanted to see what the ADS speed bonus was like. Now, with the ADS speed bonus, which is a plus 10% ADS speed bonus, it is still significantly, noticeably slower than it used to be on, well, not used to be, right? This patch hasn't come out yet, but you get the idea, right? Old Siege is going to be significantly faster than iron-sighted new Siege, even though this is supposed to be a bonus, right? It is a relative bonus compared to other options. But overall, from year 8, season 4 to year 9, season 1, everything is going to be slowed down. So that's what I mean when I say ADS time on iron sights is faster. It's relatively faster compared to other options. If you put something like a hollow sight on, you will have a 5% ADS speed bonus. So you will have an ADS speed bonus for running 1.0 optics. Now, magnified optics. As I can see, there isn't any kind of speed bonus. The only buff, the only advantage you're going to get is the 2.5 times. The interesting component here about the 2.5 is that when we look here, attacker's distribution available on every weapon. So every attacker in the game gets an ACOG now, if they want to use it. That's pretty big. Remember, the 1.5 and the 2.0 magnification levels are gone. You can still run the housing, but the actual magnification level is gone. As for the defenders, in terms of who got the ACOG on defense, let's look. Frost gets an ACOG. Mozzie's P10 Roni. Tachanka's 9x19. Alibi Maestro and Azami with the ACS-12 get one. Tubrow gets one on his AR-15. Vigil keeps his ACOG on the Boss G, of course. Aruni Mark 14. That's big. That's nice. Aruni, sorry, I just said it again. Wamai MP5K. Doc Malusi and Rook with the MP5. Big change from Malusi. I'm really, really happy about that. She needed something. I don't know why she was a 3 armor and then they just didn't give her anything for such a long time. The P90 on Doc and Rook. Goyo and Cade on the TCSG, which I'm going to... Castle's UMP. Thorn's UZK50. And Goyo's Vector, which I got a couple of shots with in the video. And then for the telescopic sight for the 3.5, that's only going to be available on attacking DMRs. So if you want like that magnification, the maximum amount that you would typically get on a marksman rifle, you're only going to get that on operators like Dekebi, operators like Lion, Twitch. Reticles. I'm surprised they actually gave lip service to this. So they increased the middle dot size, right? That is the actual like aiming point on some of the really tight sights. So that includes the Hollow A, which is the most commonly used hollow, and the red dot C, which I believe is the Russian red dot. They also did this on the magnified A, which is the 1.5 housing, but that tiny little dot is a little bit bigger. So it's going to make it, it's going to make it less precise. It's a less precise aiming point. That's the balancing metric from their logic. Now, I have very mixed feelings about this. On one hand, they're doing this to a couple of optics, and then they're reducing the middle dot size on a number of other optics. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm not a huge fan. This is probably the only part about the ADS changes that I disagree with. I'm not a fan of messing around with sights. I'm not a fan of messing around with the actual like aiming point, because at a certain point, a lot of that really is just preference. And I think that you should, still be able to give people options to reward hitting a good shot. I don't think giving somebody a precise shot picture is doing the work for them. They still have to mechanically be able to hit the shot in the first place. And giving people options in order to do that is, in my opinion, more of a system of skill expression than it is it's really weird to describe a small reticle, like a small aiming point, as a crutch, because it's like if you can't shoot, then you're not going to be able to take advantage of that, right? So I would really like to just see more options for reticles in general, like maybe some kind of like reticle slider. You could adjust the actual size of the dot to whatever you want. Maybe you could swap between like the chevron you get with the ACOG, things like that. I think a little bit more customizability in that aspect would be cool, but I understand that due to the way the game is coded, the way the engineering works, that might be a little difficult to do. So, like I said, everything else here I really like. Aside from this, I'm not a huge fan, but I understand why they did it, and I can understand the logic. All right. Underbarrels. So the laser sight is also going to increase the ADS speed bonus. So if you combo up the laser sight with the iron sights, you can get a 20% ADS speed bonus. I would be curious about actually doing a video on this, kind of comparing the different speeds to see if it actually makes something of a calculated, observable difference in the way that you approach gunfights. That would be interesting. I can already see myself running Bandit, for instance, MP7 iron sights with a laser sight. That's going to make him a really aggressive, fun 3-speed character to play. Also for the grips, let's talk about the grips real quick. So angled grip is going to add a 20% reload speed bonus. So the ADS speed increase, that's not a thing anymore. It's going to make your reloads, it's basically sleight of hand. Just think of it like that. Angle grip is sleight of hand now. But this change, the horizontal grip, is the one that I'm really interested about. This is the one I'm really curious about. So the none option is now called horizontal grip. And what that basically means is there is no grip. Okay, Yankee with no grip. There is an added 5% movement speed bonus. What this means is the operator is going to have a faster strafing speed. So you're going to be ADS'd, and you're going to have and the ability to move like left and right when you're strafing, right? When you're going into the gunfight, you're going to be able to swing more quickly than you normally would. This is really interesting because it made things just a little bit different when it comes to how I take engagements as I go around a corner. Particularly with roamers, I think this is going to be an option that you may consider. I was running this with Vigil's K1A, and I was actually having a lot of fun with it. If you can, anyone who's going to have good mechanical aim, I think is going to, gravitate towards options like this that are going to maximize that amount of potential. And I can see some really interesting combinations here. Who knows? Maybe people will just run like no recoil mitigation on some weapons at all that can, take advantage of that. In particular, I think Vigil's K1A was a great example of that because that gun's pretty much a laser beam regardless of what attachments you run on it. So that's what I was running, and I'm curious to see what everybody else might do. Now keep in mind, only weapons with access to grips can make use of such options. So the F2, right? This is their example. Twitch's F2 doesn't have the ability to have the horizontal grip bonus because you can't put any grips on it at all. All right, let's talk about the shield rework. So every operator with the ballistic shield is going to be able to keep it in front of them while sprinting. Really, really cool. Allows you to get more aggressive. Allows you to actually get in a position to take fights without getting shot in the head right away. Really big change. Gives shields so much more maneuverability. They can also push through a barricade without having to hit them twice. So this is a cool mechanic. You can actually just go up to a window or a barricade, I think hit space, and then you're just like, boom, you're in there. You can't do it from rappel though. You can't hip fire with the pistol. Thank goodness. No more RNG with that. Reduced accuracy during the shield unequip animation. During the ADS animation with the shield, the weapon will not shoot until it is pointing forward. Very, very cool. Reduced ADS time to 0.5 seconds and 0.55 seconds while sprinting. So they've made the actual get up with the gun just a little bit faster as opposed to how it was, I believe, on the test server lab. Reload animation is performed behind the shield, which makes you less vulnerable, and it'll be triggered automatically when you run out of bullets. So that removes an input, which is really cool. Defensive melee animation. So now instead of the melee like instantly downing you and you have this weird like little like Smash Bros kind of like back and forth, that's really frustrating. You now get dealt pushback and a little bit of damage, which I like more than the just like the typical like instant down, because now there's different things going on here. So if the shield manages to get in a position using the sprinting to its advantage, it's not going to be the end of the world. You still kind of have to counterplay a little bit, but it's not going to be like, it's not a death sentence like it used to be when a shield was close to you. So this lets the shield player have a little bit more fun, and this lets you not get as frustrated. New gadget throw animation from behind the shield. The animation will arrive in a later update. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know much about that. New gadget trigger animation from behind the shield. Heard that. Okay, that's interesting. So you're going to be able to throw smokes and stuff, I guess, from the shield. I didn't know that. So that, okay, that's honestly really pog. That's really good. Monty with the smoke grenades. Ballistic shield remains equipped while escorting the hostage. Very nice. If only we played more hostage. Touching fire will trigger the guard break with 40% intensity. Okay, this happened to me. I was in a position where I was trying to make a play, and then I got Technica fired, and then my guard broke, and then I was really confused, and I wasn't able to like make the play that I wanted to. So Technica is a shield counter. Really interesting, huh? Cool stuff. I'm a big fan of the change. Really, really fun. Check it out. I think it was my favorite part about the new patch, honestly. Like, I was having so much fun playing Monty, which is crazy for me because I've never played shield characters in my life. I am not a shield player. And this patch made me have fun with shields. I was really, really stoked about it. You can also do the free look. You hold down left click on PC and you can kind of check your surroundings. So you can check for like Capcan traps and stuff. There's also a counter action here with the shield. If you fire 10 bullets at a shield, you're going to affect the actual movement speed of the character, which is really interesting. Core design principles. To be lethal with a gun, you need to be vulnerable. Really, really cool. Actions from players' direct input are not to be randomized. They are to be deliberate, consistent, and reliable. Big, big, big. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay, so me and my big dumb mouth, I'm going to have to go back in the reminder to go back up into the video and edit this. So they've adjusted weapon recoil for all the LMGs. As you can see here, we're looking at the LMG-E, the 6P, the M249, Gridlock's version of the M249, the G8. Yeah, all the LMGs. They've had a significant recoil rework. And if you fire in sustained burst, you're going to have a more stable recoil pattern, which is really cool. This is like this goes back to like Bad Company 2 mechanics, right? Like the whole idea of like, if you keep firing, then you get, you know, a bonus out of using the LMG like an LMG. Super, super smart. I'm a big fan of this one. I'd be curious to go into the shooting range and then show you guys what that looks like, maybe in some shorts or something in the future. So yeah, that's Operation Deadly Omen. I'm really, really excited about this patch. Obviously, they're also adding Deimos, and we're gonna talk about him. Don't worry. We're gonna have fun with Deimos. I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on in this patch, mainly just in the sense that they are setting up a lot of really, really good ground game moving forward here to do some exciting things with the game in terms of the actual gunfighting and the way that they want to codify it as a tac shooter. And yeah, I'm just really excited about this patch. As long as they just get like the cheating thing under control, I've said this again and again and again. I don't care what they do. I enjoy the game. I think it's fun. The cheating thing's got to get figured out. As long as I figure out the cheating thing, and then we do this on top of it, like we are so back. We are so back. And yeah, so assuming that you guys like still actually enjoy playing the game instead of complaining about it, then yeah, I'm looking forward to this new year, and I hope to see you guys in more future content. So thanks again for watching. Check out the test serve if you haven't already, and thank you so much for supporting my work. I appreciate it. Deuces. Big thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring. Download the game for free on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox using my link in the pinned comment or video description. New and returning players that haven't played in 6 months get a massive bonus pack across all platforms with premium vehicles and other cool stuff for a limited time. So don't miss out.